just realized this is the first episode I'm gonna do without coffee. That's okay. It's okay. And also I didn't clean my hair for this one, which I don't know why I didn't, because I'm going to clean it probably right after this. I have a Zoom with some friends later today. It's St. Patrick's Day. Excuse any awkwardly, abruptly stopped stories that I might tell today, because I'm in a pretty busy parking lot in Ucluelet. People can hear me probably pretty easily. So I've got some questions here that I'm excited to get to. I have about 8 questions here, and then I have 2 that I think I'm going to save for next episode. I only have 2 left after that, so definitely need some more questions down below, because you don't know what you're risking if I don't run out of things to answer. I don't even know what I would talk about. Have you guys seen Gilmore Girls? We could discuss what Rory's up to. No? Okay. So I'm just going to get right into it with the first question from Alberta Schoolie Adventure, plural, because you do a lot of adventures. What is something you would like to learn? Could be a skill, a sport, or anything. Few things come to mind. There's so many things that I haven't tried yet. One of the biggest things that I kept telling my friends I might go back to school for is like jewelry making. I would love to learn how to cut gemstones and work with all that type of machinery. I think there was like a 4-year course available at George Brown in Toronto for that. So I was like, that could be such a fun thing to do. But no, I'm not committing to something like that right now. But there's just so many different branches of art that I would love to learn more about and just become more skillful at. I really want to learn how to go paddleboarding. I've never done that before, and I'm dying to try that out. And then of course, like foraging and learning more about the forest is something I really value as well. A lot of these things, for some reason, I'm at like a level 0. You'd think at this age that I would actually know something if these were my interests, but to be honest, I was just so distracted by institution after institution that I could never pursue my own personality. But now that we have the time and enough money, this is really what I've been obsessed with recently, so let's see if that keeps going. BU Van Life asks, have you ever had to do any major repairs on your engine? I don't think I did. When I first moved in it, there was probably about $1,500, maybe like $1,300 worth of repairs, changing lights, and honestly, I don't really know what went into it. I wish I remembered. I'm gonna see if I can grab my notes. I know it's under this chair, so maybe if it's easy to grab, I can grab those receipts and just read them to you. That would be kind of interesting and very good to know for myself. Let's see how easy this is to get. Ouch. This has not been pulled out in a very long time. I'm surprised it's not in worse condition. Chevy van. Oh, it was only $69. This was, they changed the oil. That was just an oil change. When did I get that cheap on an oil change? Oh my gosh, score. Ever since then, I've paid like double, $69.99. It's been like, I think $140 was the last time I did an oil change in Kelowna. I fall from the shallow now. Rod and water pump. Huh. So there was actually $888 spent on it, on like a heater hose, hose clamp, radiator hose, water pump stuff. It was in Kamloops, BC, which is kind of funny. This is, August 4th, 2010. So that's like 12 years ago. Well, that's good. I got a new bunch of stuff 12 years ago. But where did my receipt go? I swear it was in here. So I actually just remembered that I think I kept my receipts in a different file. So I'm gonna grab that and then reconvene with a coffee and then have a normal episode. That was a fun little intro, wasn't it? I've been searching for like 5 minutes. I did learn a few new things about my van, but that's not the information we were looking for. Did I do anything to the engine? I don't know. Okay, so I'll have to be honest with you guys. I searched the files that I thought it where I kept all my stuff, but I can't find it. We've got some Bengal spice going on. So let's move on to the third question. Do you ever or would you consider setting up a table with your art, either just randomly by your van or in a market setting? That's such a fun idea. I've definitely done it in markets before. I love craft markets, and I've done maybe just a handful, like 5 or something. That question gets me really excited because I've never really considered just setting it up outside of my van. That sounds like such a good idea, and if I ever feel like it's a good opportunity to do that, I'm definitely gonna do it, and I'm pretty much ready to do that because I've done some tabling similar to that at crafts markets before, and I have the perfect size table to put out some stuff, and I have like packaging for things. One of the perks is I get to see a lot of cute dogs at this trail. A lot of dog walkers with very cute dogs. Oh, love it. So yeah, once the opportunities for stuff like that comes up again, I would really enjoy selling my art. Especially in person. Like, I kind of felt really detached selling it online, but when I talk to people in person, the entire experience makes it so much more worth it. I wish someone would have told me that this life was ours to choose. No one's handing you the keys or a book with all the rules. The little that I know I'll tell to you. If they dress you up in lies and you're left naked with the truth. So today has a very different feeling than my other episodes did, I feel. Well, I say that every time, but to me they do, because they've been in different spots each time, and today it feels a lot more public because people are driving through. It does seem to be a busy parking lot. But we got that trickling of rain on the roof, which is really pretty, and I plan to go for a walk right after this, like a nice long, maybe 2-hour walk. Just really taking my time, getting some good footage. It's not too sunny, but that's okay. I'm gonna just listen to some music and have a great day after this. Hope you guys are having a great day too. And the next question will be from Low Light Mike. For those of us who might happen to upon you in real life, noticing you park somewhere or walking somewhere, what are your preferred ways for any subscriber interaction to start happening? What a thoughtful question. I love that question. I'm assuming that a gentle hello, I'm Mike, a subscriber is a good way to start, assuming that the door is open. Do you have any good and bad experiences or examples of subscriber interaction? Rockstars have the same issue. That's me. Super pop star rock star. That's such a good question. Thank you for that question, Mike. I haven't really had to consider that much yet, but I think you got it nail on. Like, very simple hello. During the daytime, I definitely prefer to interact, and like, I actually don't mind people knocking on my door during the daytime. Most of the time, I'm not going to be doing something super crucial that I can't take a break from. So yeah, I encourage anyone to just say hello, because that sounds like a great opportunity for me too. I did get a message on Instagram that somebody saw my van, and then they messaged me on Instagram and were like, did I just see you at this spot? And I was like, haha, that's so funny that you did. And then they ended up giving me a new spot to check out in Ucluelet, which was really awesome. So I always see a benefit in talking to people, especially if they follow my channel, because I bet we have a lot of things in common and could talk just a lot. So yeah, Mike, if you ever see me, you have full on permission to come visit. And you know, I prefer the shave and a haircut knock, so. I actually got a knock on my van earlier today. That's kind of a little bit of a story. So yeah, for the first time in Ucluelet, I've been bothered by the officials here. He was really nice. He just asked me if I had slept here, and in this case, I hadn't, because I just got here at like 6:30, so I told him that, and he told me that it is illegal to sleep in the Ucluelet district in a vehicle. I asked him if it was okay that I spent today here, and he was totally okay with that, but he let me know, and he couldn't really tell me where the district ended. I asked where's the line to that I can sleep in my vehicle? And he didn't really answer that. He kind of got confused by that. And then I suggested like the edge of town would be the end, because when you're saying the edge of town, no one really knows exactly. That's like a subjective term. What is the edge? Like when past downtown area, like, or maybe there is like a line on a map that everyone knows about that I should be following, or maybe there's a sign or a line on the road. Maybe there's an area that you can cross over that just turns black and white and it's suddenly just desaturated of color. And that's outside of Ucluelet. No, this officer was actually really nice. It was a pleasant experience. I actually enjoy any pleasant experience with an officer because it gives me more experience about it. And so I'm happy that happened. And I already knew that about this spot. I think the season is definitely starting to change with a lot more tourists coming around, and this parking lot is pretty full. Not completely full, and I see a really cute RV just pulling up. I'm actually at the Ucluelet Lighthouse loop, which is a very beautiful trail. I actually had a YouTube channel back in the day when I was like a young teenager, and I went to college and someone recognized me from my YouTube videos, and that was like pretty much the only time that I got recognized in person from YouTube, and I thought that was kind of embarrassing. He's like, "Don't I recognize you?" I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe," and just very awkward. I would do better on this day. Today I'd be like, "Yeah, who else do you watch? Let's talk about our favorite YouTubers. I have so many favorites that we could probably suggest to each other." Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would be welcoming to subscriber interactions, and I don't have any experiences with bad ones yet. So the day I do, I will share that story and it will be some good drama. Just kidding. No negative subscriber interactions. I don't want that. I'm not manifesting that at all. Question for your next podcast, says Priscilla. Does your front passenger seat swivel around? So the one that I'm sitting right beside, yes, it actually does. That was like the one and only question that I had before I bought the van. I was like, does that seat swivel? Because I know how much it can open a room if that seat can swivel around. And he did say yes. I didn't check the underneath. I didn't look at any of the rust. I hardly even examined the thing, but I did ask, does the seat swivel? And it's definitely a luxury when I get to do that, because it means that I'm in a really comfortable spot somewhere and I'm just not on the move every single day. It doesn't get turned around as often as I'd like, but I used to use it all the time when I was pretty stationary. Oh, it was the best. And that is definitely the comfiest spot in the house, I would say. Definitely the king's chair. Bubba asks, how old is your camper van? Mine is a 1985 Ford Ecoline 351 motor, old school interior boogie van. Nice. That sounds awesome. I love old vans. I hope to have a nice collection of them one day. And 85, yeah, so yours is a little bit older than mine. Mine is 1988, and so much character. So much simplicity, good vibes. So welcome to the old van club, Bubba. You have an old van, so respect. That's awesome. Wendy asks, hope it warms up soon. Maybe when you cross the border, travel is easier and you would consider coming south for the winter. Yes, going into the States sounds like a dream. I could really fantasize about that endlessly because there's so much land there that I'd love to discover, and it gets so much warmer during the winter, so why not just travel down a little bit, spend a few months there, come back, do it all. Like, that's the real advantage of having wheels in your home. Everything's packed and ready to go. It's all with you. What is your heat source for the van? Do you have a Mr. Buddy heater? I find a 12-volt electric blanket keeps me toasty in cold nights in my Jeep. Oh, I'm very jealous of your like small vehicle. That could be like really fun and really like adventurous and stealthy, and I would love to try traveling in a Jeep or something like that. But a 12-volt electric blanket is also a really great idea. I actually have a blanket, an electric blanket, and I used to use it once in a while. It turns out it used way too much power for using it on the regular with my Jackeries, because I couldn't charge them up that much. But whenever I was plugged in, I used my electric blanket, and it's so nice. It's like a spa treatment. I've heard that just a heating pad, like a smaller heating pad, uses a lot less watts and might be a more efficient way to go if I were to ever to do that. But that's a really great thing to share, so thank you. My heat source, I do have a small Mr. Buddy heater, and it does the trick whenever I need a boost of heat to me. But also I just have a lot of hot meals, and I have a hot water bottle, and yeah, those are my heat sources. Tea, really hot tea. This super insulating bottle, it's my heat source. I just sip on it all day long. Bonnie and Clyde says, "Hi Stephen, I do so love watching your videos. You're a fun person, you make me smile. I have a question. What made you decide to do van life? Was there an event that happened that pushed you into it, or was it something you wanted to do for a while? Also, if someone wanted to send a gift, what address would it be sent to? Thank you, Stephen." Aw, that is such a good comment. I'm pretty sure that you have a van and you might live in it, but I think you have an old van, and I just love that so much. So what made me decide to do van life? That's a good question. I just saw so much appeal to van life. It was so convenient that after I kind of thought of it for myself and kind of being inspired by like the 60s and how people did it then, that trying it today was so different than that. And I got so much inspiration from YouTube and just the entire community there. At that point in my life, I had really fallen off of YouTube. I used to be obsessed with it as a kid. When I went away for school, I 100% shut it off, never went on. And I came back, and so many different types of communities had formed, and it was just so much to discover. Actually, what pushed me into living in a vehicle first, I was in a Honda CR-V, and that was due to completing my schooling in one city, and I planned to move at the end of that school year. And when that lease ended, I could have moved back home probably, or figured something else temporarily, but I decided to just keep it exciting. It was during the summer, so it would be just an exciting summer adventure to live in the Honda CR-V in Toronto, just like circulating the parks or buying parking. And I also had a job in Toronto that I had been going to for a few months at that point, and I used to commute like over an hour on the GO train every single day, super early too. So I just decided to park relatively close to work, super close compared to what I was doing, but it just like fell into that. And then my friend happened to send me a really random YouTube channel of a girl who lived in her car, and her name was Katie Carney, and she was just really fun to watch, and I just watched some of her videos, and that was my only introduction to van life for the longest time, until my lease started in Toronto just a few months later. So I was living in my Honda CR-V for just a few months, moved into a house for over a year, and just didn't even really consider van life because I had a new job at that point, and it was just living a new life, getting used to it, until the idea just reappeared one day. Is that crazy to say? Maybe there was something that triggered it, like I saw a video or something, but I just started searching on Kijiji and just keeping an eye out for any van to be available. It probably took just like a month of searching, not very long, and I got a good situation, and ever since then I've just been making it work and going with the flow, and it is 100% a more exciting life than I used to live. So that's awesome. So rewarding in that way. Don't think that was your question, but once I started to want to do it, I probably got in a van like 3 months between then, because I needed to give my roommate some notice that I was leaving, and I bought the van in the summer in August and moved in it in November. Also, if someone wanted to send you a gift, what address would it be sent to? So I don't have an easy answer for this question yet. If I can figure out an area that I would stay more permanently, I could figure something out with the post office. And that's actually one of the worst things about living in a van, like how people can't send me letters, because I send out a lot of letters and people are like, yeah, where do I send this for it to get to you? And yeah, so sometimes my mail just piles up at a certain friend's house until I can collect it. But if you want to send me an email, there might be an address that I could send you if you insist. But I don't know how I feel about accepting gifts. I have very little room in my van for anything. So whenever I get something, I'm like, okay, I have to find the perfect spot for it. And it creates a lot of pressure, but that is such a sweet, thoughtful thought, and great questions. Please ask more questions. That's the truest, kindest gift that you can give me. Asking your heart's content of questions and just interacting. And let's talk about van life.
What's one random thing in the front of my van?
Okay, so this is the newest edition that I just picked up yesterday. I know you're not supposed to take stuff from a beach, but this was just a little type of thing, and I thought it was so interesting. So, like, does this look like something to you guys? Well, first of all, it's such a beautiful purple fading into a white. I feel like the white is where it's bleached, so I feel like maybe all of it will turn white eventually. But this looks like an ear. Doesn't it look like an ear? It's like the ear of the ocean. And it has all these holes. It's kind of like a coral or something. If somebody knows what this is, let me know. But I just saw it on this beach and I thought it was super unique. So, yeah.
Story time, story time, story time, story time, time for story, story time.
So I'm going into this story time without an actual story. I haven't thought of one yet, but I'm hoping if I speak, improv will come to me and I'll start telling a story of something that happened. It doesn't seem to be working so far, so let me open up my good old notebook. I love keeping notes, OV, old van, and see a topic that I wrote down here. Okay, perfect. This kind of relates to Early Retirement Extreme. This is a book that I was really into when I was just starting van life. I ordered it off of Amazon, and this kind of relates to the question that was asked about how I started van life and that point of inspiration that got me into it. I did start watching a YouTube channel called Wild We Roam, and I'm pretty sure that's the first place that I heard about this book, but since then I've heard it come up in a few different areas, few different YouTubers that I actually really love, and it is called Early Retirement Extreme, a philosophical and practical guide to the financial independence. I love this book whenever I'm in a study type mood and I just want to practice being a Renaissance man. So that is someone who is a jack of all trades and is really efficient at saving money by just doing everything himself and keeping it to the basics. And there's much more depth about it for sure. Like, there's an entire book on it. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't think I finished it. I think I got halfway through. But there are certain parts that I go back to once in a while, and I want to read just a little bit of the beginning. Chapter 1, A Different Frame of Mind. When I grew up, I dutifully went to school and did my homework. For the most part, schooling was about sitting still for 45 minutes while doing simple tasks that the teachers handed out. I was very good at sitting still, and thus I was a good student. I learned how to add, multiply, divide, and subtract. I learned how to punctuate a sentence and how to spell. I learned something about chemistry, then I learned something about physics and geology. At some point, the teacher introduced tests and grades. Test taking became a primary objective, learning secondary. We had the option to quickly forget what we had spent the past year learning after the test was done. In other words, we were being taught to be flexible. Later, there were job fairs and educational fairs telling us how to write resumes and how to interview so we could get jobs. This is the simple line that everyone takes in life. And I was just like, wow, that's like so directly pinpointing me. And I'm like, yeah, because that's society for you. But anyways, I want to read a little bit more. How's this going? I don't know. Yet, I never learned why the world worked the way it did. And in retrospect, I think nobody ever even asked the question. But nobody could or would explain why I should buy a house in the first place. Nobody could or would explain why I should have a career, only that career development was important. And then it goes on to explain Plato's allegory of the cave, which is a whole other topic that is so fun to talk about, and maybe we'll do that in a future episode. I feel like that's not very interesting, but maybe I'll just highlight really good quotes out of this and then spark them once in a while. I feel like that those first 2 paragraphs were really a really good example of what this book is all about. Okay, so that will be it for this episode. It was kind of a weird one, but at least I got one out, and I know for next time that a busy parking lot is not the place to tell stories. It's pretty awkward and I got interrupted a bunch, but I'm gonna try to edit something together, and I will see you guys on the next one. Ask a question below. Bye guys.